So today I'm going to be showing you how to backup and restore your Mikrotik configuration router using Winbox and the terminal command line interface. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is how to backup your config. So I'm going to be using the Mikrotik cloud-hosted router. So in my downloads folder, I've got the .ova file for the cloud-hosted router. So right click on that file and then click on open with VirtualBox. Once it opens up, click on the import button to import the cloud-hosted router into VirtualBox. And then click on the settings button once the import process is complete. So I'm going to change the name of the cloud-hosted router to Mikrotik router, and then I'm going to say backup demo. I'm just going to call this backup demo, and then click on the network tab, and then on the adapter 1, I'm going to attach it to the host-only adapter. Click on advanced and set the promiscuous mode to allow all. Click on adapter 2, enable the network adapter, and attach it to the internal network interface. Also, I'm going to enable the promiscuous mode and then set the graphics controller to VMS VGA and click on OK. So start the virtual machine. And then what I'm actually going to do now is to set a static IP address on the cloud-hosted router. So whilst it's actually booting up, I'm going to open Winbox, because I'm actually first going to be showing you how to back up using the Winbox network configuration utility. Okay, so Winbox is now up. So what I'm actually going to do now is to configure a static IP address. I'm just waiting for the boot process for the cloud-hosted router to complete, and once it's done, we're then going to set a static IP. So let me just log in using admin, and remember, for a new Mikrotik router, the password is always blank. Okay, so I'm just going to type no, and then I'm actually setting a password now. So let me just type in a password, and there you have it. We've actually configured a password. So I'm actually going to run the command IP address print to check what IP address have been auto-configured. So to remove that IP address, you just need to run the command IP address removes there. And then to set a new IP address, just run the command IP address add address, and then the address is going to be 192.168.56.254/24, and then I'm going to attach this IP address to the Ether1 interface. Okay, so to check the IP, I'm just going to run the command IP address print just to check and verify that I've done the correct thing. And then now I'm then going to go into Winbox. If you click on the refresh button, you should now be able to connect to the cloud-hosted router using that static IP address. Let me just double check my password, because I think I actually didn't type it in correctly. Okay, and then click on connect, and I've logged in. Okay, so once I've logged in, what I'm actually first going to show you is how to complete your backup. So what I need you to actually do is to click on Files and then click on Backup. So all you need to do now is to give the backup a name. So I'm just going to call this backup RouterOS backup 1. And then on the password, I'm just going to leave the password blank. And then you can actually choose to encrypt or not to encrypt the backup, and then click on the backup file. So you actually see the backup file being created in the files window, and to download it, right click on the backup and click on download, then choose a folder to save the file. Then you actually see there's the backup being saved onto the desktop of my MacBook. So I'm going to show you how to complete the backup via SSH. So open up your SSH client and type the command SSH admin at 192.168.56.254, which is actually the IP address for the cloud-hosted router. And remember, the setup that I'm actually doing here is the exact same thing that you can actually do if you've got a physical device. Okay, so it's actually asking me to add the SSH key to my known host file. And once I've actually typed in the password, I've actually logged into the router, as you can see. So to back up the router, you just need to run the command system backup, save, and then name, and then I'm then going to type in a file name for the backup file. So I'm just going to call this Mikrotik backup 2, I think, 02. Okay, and then you can actually give it any name you want. And then I'm then going to let me see. I'm going to set the don't encrypt configuration parameter to yes or no, or let me just choose yes, and then press enter. So you see your prompt informing you that the backup has actually been created. So if you go back to the files option on the router, you can actually see the backup there. You can actually drag and drop it, or you can actually download it to your desktop. As you can see what I'm actually doing now. So there's the backup. So those are the two ways that you can actually back up your Mikrotik router, amongst the many other ways that you can actually, but those are the two primary ways that you can actually back up your route. So I'm now going to show you how to restore your backup. So click on Files and then click on Upload. Click on the folder where the backup is located, select it, and then click on Open. So the file will actually be uploaded to the router. Click on the file and then click on Restore. Click on the Restore button again and then click on Yes to confirm the restoration. So the cloud hosted router or the Mikrotik router will actually reboot, as you can see now. And during the reboot process, it's actually going to restore your backup. So if anything happens to your router, this is one of the quickest ways that you can actually get your system and your network configuration back up and running. So it's very important for you to always have a backup for your configuration, especially if you work with a lot of clients or with a lot of CPE equipment. I highly recommend that you maintain backups for all of your routers. I'm actually going to log back into the router. If I refresh, as you can see, it still has the same IP address. Then click on connect, and there you have it. The backup file that's been uploaded actually stays in the router, so you can actually re-download it and keep it elsewhere. I'm going to show you how you can actually do the same thing from the command line interface. So I'm actually reconnect to the router now. But I think I'm actually going to have an issue because it's actually seeing the old SSH key from the, because I'm actually trying to reconnect to a router that's been restored. So what I actually need to do is to remove the old SSH key, and then I should be able to then reconnect. So I've actually removed I've actually emptied my known host file, and then should be able to connect now. There you have it. So I've actually connected to the router via SSH, and the command to restore a backup is system backup load, and then name, and then you then specify the file name for the backup. In this case, I'm just going to use the RouterOS backup -1 file, and then what you then need to do is to press enter. Once you press enter, you just need to type in the password for your router, and then when it prompts you to restore and reboot, you just type in yes and press enter. So it will actually start rebooting the router, and then during the reboot process, it will actually restore that backup file. So that's another way for you to restore a backup that if you don't have access to the Winbox desktop application. So as you can see, the Mikrotik router is actually booting up now, and once it's booted up, I'm actually going to test login once again using the Winbox desktop app. So it's actually starting up now and starting services, as you can see. And there you have it. So the router is now up, and let me just try to log in from Winbox, and then there you have it. I've actually connected using Winbox. So that's been it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.